Yes, I'm not Joe Soro. He said to start it, and then after he started it, or after I've started to get it ready, he said, "Oops, he forgot his drink that he's going to get for Nightcap." So it is me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate you joining us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Of course, I'm going to let Joe take over here in just un momento, por favor. Hopefully you have enjoyed our content. We're at 1,930 subscribers, only 70 more to go. Can we get to the magical 2,000 subscribers before the end of the month? Yes, I saw someone that did subscribe while we were off the air. Thank you for subscribing, everyone. Yes, Joe Soro looks a little different. Yes, he said to hit the magic button, and as soon as I hit it, he's like, "Oh, I have to go get my drink." It's the Nightcap. Of course, you got to have a drink. I have a drink right here. Before we go into details, did you guys have a good Thanksgiving? I'm still eating my leftovers that we had. Uh, Actually, it was pretty good. I heated up a crab boil during the interim while we were between shows. So JSJ said, "Let's get wasted." So, yeah, crab boil's really good as far as the leftovers are concerned. So with that, Joe is looking like he's getting ready now. So I will hit the magic intro one more time. Are you ready, Joe? Okay, Joe, give me the thumbs up when you're ready. Give me the thumbs up. Okay, all right, here goes nothing with the Nightcap with Joe Soro.
The Nightcap has arrived at 10 o'clock like it should. The early games are good because we can actually take a little break and have our Nightcap and talk post game as well as other things. So I was I mentioned this on post game that I'd been given a case of wine from a client of mine. And I figured since the Nightcap usually is christened with some kind of a nightcap, I figured I'd go a little high class wine cap. So you guys are going to see me here open this sucker up and then obviously drink it. I think it's a Merlot. I didn't get a chance to see exactly what he had, but I think he messaged me on what it was. So I'm going to open it up.
Johnny, I would not, being the Connect fan that I am, I would not be opposed to that. It's just, when you do that, you want to make sure he's ready for it. And knowing him, he's usually a very confident kid. So I'd say, yeah, especially being 23. So why not? Why not go ahead and run a lot of the offense that similar to what Golden State does with Steph Curry? Why not do some of that? Run those actions, run those curls. I mean, right now, the ball movement that was so prevalent in the beginning of the season is not there as much. We saw a lot of ISOs for LeBron and AD where they're just dribbling, 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 and dribbling, which is not going to help anyone at all. Eric says, "What's up? What's up?" Robert Wheeler, if you're out there, I do have your question. We missed it, so I'm going to ask Joe this. This way he drinks his fine Merlot right there.
Wow, that's good.
How it's good? All right. Robert Wheeler asked just before we went off the air, and we missed it, and I apologize for missing it on the show.
Wow, that's really good.
Robert Wheeler says, let me go ahead and read it off the question for you. I know both you and John answered. I was thinking John was going to be here too as well. Do you think it's more likely the Lakers finish with a top 10 offense or a top 10 defense? Right now, the Lakers have a 9th best offense and the 24th ranked defense. So when Robert told me that, I said that's rather high for the defense. At times, this is probably the second worst defense in the NBA I've seen. Only Indiana, to me at times, has been overall the worst defense I have seen so far this season, Joe. So that being said, this team needs to outscore its opponents. It needs to outshoot. It needs to outplay. It needs to out hustle on the offensive end. I think that a top 10 offense is feasible, but a top 10 defense is nowhere in sight.
No, because there's only one guy that actually plays defense on this team with any kind of talent, and that is Mr. Anthony Davis. And if he's not engaged because he's playing apparently someone who's, I guess, good. Gobert is another big tonight that ended up taking the one spot for the bigs tonight, or in a game with Anthony Davis there. Anthony Davis is struggling to play with any bigs that are talented. That's Gobert, that's Nurkic, that's Sabonis, Jokic. We haven't seen Embiid yet, but I'm sure if Embiid had played earlier in the year against them, I'm sure he would have gone off. Anthony Davis isn't the main problem with this team, but he has shown that he is not dominant against any equal or close to equals. And that is already something that this team couldn't afford. They needed one guy that could always be there, and it's Anthony Davis. And unfortunately, he's not there when it matters most of the time. And it's usually revolved around the bigs. Luckily, the NBA doesn't have a lot of these game changing type bigs, but when he does play these guys, he seems to struggle almost every game. And that's no good.
So I thanked Robert again. If you get a chance, Robert, please go ahead and keep sending on those questions to us. I know we always got it before the end of the show, so hopefully I'll see you in the chat so I can remind you to check out the beginning of this episode. Still trying to find the other comment that was made, but in the meantime, it was the Lakers getting beat tonight, Joe, soundly. Again, I thought they were going to go 2-2. They still have a chance, my friend, as they head into Miami on Wednesday.
So you're thinking 2-2?
I think 2-2.
Yeah.
That's about as Laker Tom as I'm going to get on this trip.
Yeah, I don't see it. I see a loss in Miami and I see a loss in Atlanta. I think that's the destiny right now for this team. I think Miami is the worst place to go to right now after this loss, because Miami is gonna it's gonna be a distraction. What's a better remedy to depression and losing than going to Miami and having fun before you go to the game?
Here it is, the second question for you, my friend. Devotion 5 days ago said, great pod, but I have to strongly disagree with the LeBron disrespect. It's not, and this was about comments that we said about LeBron. It's not disrespect. It's disagreeing with the choices he made in the off season if he's telling you he wants to win a championship. So it's not disrespect. It's about the choices he made. We disagree with the choices that he made. He said, Devotion said, LeBron came here in 2018 to play with a bunch of kids. Is he overpaid now? I'm not sure. He generates so much revenue for the franchise. Yes, chips matter, but money does too. LBJ is also being super productive at his age. Not sure what else we want from him. He's not taking a pay cut. I wouldn't. You guys wouldn't either. Well, if I want to win a championship, yes, I would. If I'm already a billionaire, yes, I would. And as far as Bronny on the team, hold on, let me finish this. And as far as Bronny on the team, most of us would also practice nepotism in our workplace if given the chance. Not getting political, but I can't say I disagree with you on that one after what we've seen. Please address them on your next pod. So Devotion, I did see it. I said I would when I saw it because I just saw it last night. So I'm addressing it now. Joe, your thoughts on LeBron James and the Bronny situation as well?
Yeah, I don't consider nepotism to be a forcible decision. Nepotism is if I was hiring my kid into my business. LeBron didn't do that. LeBron made Jeannie and Rob hire his son, who is not qualified for the job.
Because John still, John and I, after you left, we're still arguing, saying it's just one slot. But I'm trying to tell him, when you have so many other slots with players that cannot contribute to winning basketball already on the roster, having another one makes you hurt that much worse, Joe.
Pale Fox, that's what I was told yesterday. I didn't see it.
Yeah, I've been looking for it on Twitter. I couldn't find where JJ is storming out of a press conference.
So if he didn't storm out, then I guess somebody was lying through their teeth.
Yeah. Also, we were told yesterday that De'Aaron Fox was asking for a trade. I saw no official news on that as well. So
right, me neither. It is what it is. Sometimes lying sacks of shit screw things up. That's why you got to see it for yourself. I guess we have to look at everything these days. The LeBron look, I don't care what happened in 2018. I don't care what happened in 2020. I'm talking about now. Folks, you have to really focus on the now. You can't say you're wanting to win and you are forcing your organization to draft someone who has no business in the NBA, and especially with a team that's already talent deficient. You're actually taking time. Folks, there's only 24 hours in the day. You actually had people taking time, which had Bronny deserved this much time on him. Zero amount of time. The amount of time you spent worrying about this guy who can't play in the NBA when your team is hurting for talent it's more than just what stats and all this crap is. It's about focus. Their focus is not about winning. I'm not going to waste my time supporting something if they're not going to be winning. I'm sorry,
So
I'm not.
there's a brand new story up from Dave McMenamin on ESPN saying LeBron opened up his 22nd season saying he planned to play all 82 games. With LeBron in the middle of a brutal shooting slump, JJ Redick said the plan may be revisited. I don't know that it's in the best interest of him and us.
And he should have probably taken today off. We talked about that yesterday. Matter of fact, I lost $5 to Sean because Sean said he would play. I said he shouldn't play, and I'll take the bet. It's just there's no discussion here that can go beyond the obvious. I don't care about LeBron's stats or his accomplishments. I care about the Lakers winning in 2024. Winning is the only thing that matters. And by setting up the team the way they did this year, they made it very clear that they were not interested in winning. And I don't think you can argue against that.
That's funny, BJ. Nice one. He said Bronny should play for the Sparks. Then everyone could be happy about how good he is.
I could have taken that somewhere, but I won't.
No, don't take that. It was a good one, though. I thought that was pretty good by BJ.
Yeah, Bill, the reason why they can't compete is because they made decisions, LeBron especially, on things that didn't matter.
Rob also has a lot to do with this as well because of his poor mismanagement of the roster. But LeBron could have taken a pay cut, had taken half of his salary. And what could have that done to bring in better players on this roster, quality players on this roster? But
yeah, Eric, rebuilds are not fun. But you know what's also not fun? Waiting to rebuild when you should have rebuilt at least 6 months ago. Started the rebuild. Now you got to wait another year. And then possibly if LeBron is into himself that much, if he forces the Lakers to allow him, or I should say, if he plays another year after this, that's another year that Laker fans have to wait for them to go on with their lives and actually start hoping for the next setup. It's a horrible nepotism in a business standpoint is what it is, but this is not business in terms of sports. You have to have talent. You have to be able to play. So this is not nepotism. This is not he's taking care of his son. No, you are absolutely destroying any chance of you winning in a sport.
So let's say LeBron keeps playing. You've got LeBron and AD on the roster, take up a certain amount. You can't go over the second tax apron. You do get D'Angelo's money and then JHS's money, which is about $20 million. You can make some small tweaks and changes, but you're not going to significantly change the roster. Maybe somebody will start being interested in Gabe because it'll be the last year on his contract. Maybe somebody will be interested in Rui, but these guys, these small trades with players that outside of Rui are not making a huge contribution to the team are just not going to get back what you guys want to get back unless you take another big chunk out of this equation and allow the Lakers to have more money on their salary cap to be able to go out and get through a trade or free agency better players on this roster.
Yeah, signing D'Angelo was a must because if he had left, that money was not going to be able to be used to pick
No,
anybody up. Once again, you all in the NBA decided on this particular contract,
you would have had
and
Gabe Vincent starting the first
right,
10 games.
and this is why you if you're gonna go hard cap, you might as well go all the way. The only problem with that, folks, is you can't really do that in the NBA. There's not enough talent to justify it. People would get stuck not only in purgatory but also sucking for until they absolutely get lucky. And it's very, very rare that a great player that gets picked high becomes a LeBron or a Steph or a Durant. It's very, very rare. Even when Durant became great, he couldn't lead Oklahoma City anywhere in terms of a championship. Russell Westbrook couldn't do it. Uh, you have James Harden still hasn't been able to do it. It's very, very difficult to do it. Durant had to do it in Golden State with a ready-made team. Steph, for a minute there, it looked like he wasn't going to make it until his ankle healed and the stars kind of aligned from there. So it's a very difficult setup. And the reason why the Lakers have been successful for so long is because they've been able to poach great players in their prime. Think about this for a second. Wilt wasn't in his prime, but he had enough left to where they were able to win a championship. Then you had Kareem in his prime. Then you had Shaq in his prime. Then you got LeBron, kind of like Wilt, kind of not in his prime, but still damn good. He ends up winning a title. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do? What are you going to do when you can't do that based off the current landscape of the collective bargaining agreement? You need somebody to come in here that knows what they're doing. Jeannie's not going to know what to do. She doesn't have a clue what they're doing. Rob doesn't have a clue on what he's doing. I told you, if he's going to be a general manager, he's making sure the bills are paid, the lights are on, making sure he's hiring the right secretaries. I'm sure he'll do fine there. But this team needs a player development and a player acquisition person, draft, whatever. They need someone there that knows how to find talent. If they do not do this, they will never play well again. They'll be the New York Knicks of the last 50 to 60 years again.
Let me ask you this. We talked about this year heading into our predictions, had the Lakers, we're talking about a dozen people that were related to the show as a panelist or guest or what have you, got a chance to pick their as far as their conference standings, and sixth place was the highest anybody picked the Lakers for this season. Most picking seventh, eighth. I picked them ninth. I think there was a 10th, and then you and Stone picked 11th. Is the window closing, or is the window closed on the Los Angeles Lakers with this current AD LeBron makeup?
It's closing. Yeah, it's going to close here very, very soon. When they start playing teams that actually have full rosters. If you look at the schedule, let's run that down a little bit. I wanted to run this down for the nightcap a little bit. I didn't want to, because we talked so much about the game and so much about kind of the negativity of things. But this is now really focusing on what has gone on so far and why the Lakers are actually in the position they're in, which is pretty much the exact same position they were last year, and why it's going to be worse later this year. So if you look at how the season started, so they win their first game in Minnesota at home. Not a surprise. I actually felt pretty confident they were going to beat Minnesota. They beat Phoenix, which it was at home, and they had a couple days break. Kind of still understood that. The win against Sacramento was surprising, just because it was based off of the last few years where Sacramento was beating them pretty well. They won that game, and I thought that was probably going to be a very good game to look back on and say, you know what, they completely earned that. Cool. Then they went to Phoenix a couple days later. They should have won that game, but they didn't. And that game, those kind of games, when you lose them, magnify the losses so much, because then they went on a 2-game losing streak. They got whooped by Cleveland. They barely beat a Scotty Barnes-less Toronto team. If Scotty Barnes plays on that team, they probably don't win that game. And then, of course, they played Detroit. Should have won that game, under normal circumstances maybe. But they got whooped by Detroit, and they were a healthy team. Memphis was a healthy team. Got whooped by them. Then they beat Philadelphia, Toronto, Memphis, San Antonio, New Orleans, and Utah. They win 6 straight. Philly, they didn't have Maxey. They didn't have Embiid. Toronto, again, they didn't have Scotty Barnes again. Memphis, I think John Morant was out, as well as Desmond Bane was out. San Antonio, was Wembanyama out on that game, or was he? He was playing, right?
He was playing. That's the
Yeah.
one where he got hurt.
He
Remember,
got
banged
hurt though,
these.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So again, there's been some fortunate games in there where they were able to get the win. And again, that's how it kind of works out sometimes, and that's fine. But where you look back on the season and the two losses to me that really hurt is and kind of sets the psyche is losing to Phoenix when you should have won that one, and then of course losing to Orlando. So if you look at this team, and if they're sitting at 14-7, you probably feel a little bit different tonight than you do now. But that's the point. The point is they're not good enough to win those games because they lose to Orlando, then they get whooped by Denver again, and then they get whooped by Phoenix. It's just, and they beat San Antonio and Utah in the last 4 games. They get destroyed by Oklahoma City, or I shouldn't say destroyed, but they ended up losing. They ended up shitting the bed at the end, like they have been here the last few years. They are who they are. This is kind of who they are. If they were going to show signs of kind of maybe being better than they were last year, I truly believe that they would have won the Orlando game and they would have won that first Phoenix or the second Phoenix game in Phoenix. Those kind of games can shift a lot of things and tell you a lot about your team. But they didn't. They didn't. And they are where they are right now. And I'm worried that this thing is going to start coming off here on Wednesday and on Friday. There's a very good chance that we could look back next week at this time and them being sitting at 500. Now, I'm picking them to beat Portland at home, but Portland also likes to shoot threes. And if the Lakers are lazy and aren't focused and are letting D'Angelo Russell be the top scorer on the team, there's going to be a problem there. Thanks,
BTS says Dennis has found Jesus and playing like an MVP. Well, he found a loss tonight. So I don't know, against the Bulls. They got beat by 26. So whatever he found, it wasn't a win tonight.
It wasn't Jesus. Maybe it was Saint. Maybe it was Judas.
Yeah, 16 points, 10 assists. Good, yeah. Good overall game for him. Oh, 6 from 3, though. Yeah, that's not going to help your matters. But yeah, he didn't. They're 9-13 BTS, so he isn't finding Jesus enough to get wins. So Jeremy says we don't deserve a trade at that point. We don't have the potential. No, any all these trades you guys are talking about for this player, they're just marginal upgrades. They're not going to have you hop over 6-7 teams in the Western Conference. I don't know who we're kidding. I'm not trying to kid you guys at all. I just try to tell you the truth. You guys keep kidding yourself into that. Well, if you get this person on the right day, under the right circumstances, things can go our way, and a championship will soon follow. It's not going to work that way. Unfortunately, with what we have to offer, what we will probably get back in a trade is just not going to be enough to have us move that high up the ladder. So, and I know somebody in the chat earlier said something about, we should trade, make trades and just rebuild from here. Trade it all. The only thing that's going to get you a lot of picks at this point is AD. So if you're going to go all in on a rebuild. Trade AD and get 6 or 7 picks, first-round picks. That's what you need to get. Otherwise, we're just going to be going in that same mediocrity because you can't trade LeBron, and the other guys aren't going to get you more than a marginal first-round pick at best, maybe? I don't think anybody on the roster right now, Joe, outside of AD, is going to yield or fetch a first-round pick. Maybe Dalton.
Yeah. I don't even know if there's a point in discussing those things because it's just not going to happen. I would say I would be in serious thought. Let's just say for fun.
But Kyle Bridges got 6 or 5 and a pick swap. Jeremy,
let's just say
do the math.
Let's just say at the end of the year, right? Let's give it to the end of the year. The end of the year happens and we're here. let's say Cleveland has a Eastern Conference appearance and they lose to the Celtics. And they feel pretty good about themselves. They feel very good about where they're going. Let's say LeBron surprises everyone and retires. And then now you have to figure out, do you look at someone like AD and you're like, hey, look, AD, we know that, you probably don't want to be on a rebuild. What if we send you somewhere where you have a chance to win? So now you call Cleveland, and I'm using Cleveland because Cleveland is one of the two teams that I can feel comfortable talking about and knowing that maybe Rob can figure something out, especially if that idiot keeps him. You call Cleveland up and you say, all right, guys, I think you are a Anthony Davis player away from probably winning a championship. We just want to get a couple of your guys and a bunch of draft picks. Who are those guys? Are you going to ask for Jared Allen and a filler? Are you going to ask for Evan Mobley and a filler? And then, of course, what are the draft picks coming your way? Because then you can have, I know Darius Garland's probably going to be one of those guys because then salaries match. So do you look at, let's say, Cleveland and say, well, we need to kind of move Darius Garland. Can we get Darius Garland and then either probably Jared Allen, let's say, and then a bunch of draft picks, and then they'll have Mobley, AD, and Donovan. I'd like to think that if you're making that kind of suggestion to Cleveland, that's going to pique their interest. That's a pretty damn good trio in the East. I think if everybody stays healthy, that team could do something. Possibly if they can get lucky in a couple places, they could probably win it all. And then, of course, the Lakers end up getting two young players and a bunch of draft picks. And then now you're right. You could probably have JJ Redick be a little bit more assertive, even more, because now he's coaching a bunch of young guys. They're going to be more apt to listen and more energy to do what he really wants to do.
To make that work, you would do. Let me see. D'Angelo and AD would have to probably go in the package to do Jared Allen and Darius Garland.
Well, it would be D'Angelo would be a free agent, so you wouldn't be able to do that unless there's a sign and trade. But
no, because they want the expiring cash.
Yeah, but I mean, AD's making 60 mil, so I don't think you really have to.
AD's only making 43.
Really?
Yeah, 43
next year.
This year, you're talking about this year. If you made that, if you traded before the trade deadline this year, it's 43, and then like you said,
no. I'm talking about the end of the year.
Okay, well then that's.
Well, I'm talking about the year's over.
Well, the year might be over for us already, my friend.
I know. I'm talking about we have to have LeBron retire for this to make sense. You see what I'm saying?
Do you really need LeBron to retire to make sense? Do you want to start making that down?
You're not going to bring those guys to play with LeBron. He's going to
maybe send him a message saying, you know what, I want to make.
Well, that's the thing is LeBron has to retire because these fucking idiots gave him the power. So now we have to wait for him to retire. If he retires, then you have some room to talk to AD and say, hey, listen, you want to play for a contender in the last few years, we can send you back east. You can play in Cleveland. It's an easier conference. You're going to play with Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell. That's a hell of a trio, guys. And then you get back Jared Allen, Garland, and a bunch of draft picks, and then you start over with that. I think that's a hell of a way to start this. That'd be a great way to start this jump. You guys tell me, am I out of my gore here?
I would offer it sooner.
This is because they're not going to do it now because they're playing really well. I'm talking about if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, now they're feeling pretty good about themselves.
Oh, you're talking about okay, yeah. So if it doesn't work out,
you have to look at this from the other team's perspective too.
Yes,
because our team
what we try to do.
Ass. They know you're desperate, but once you have Anthony Davis there, then desperation no longer is the
if main. They do another flame out in the playoffs, they are going to start looking around for answers.
Well, if they see in the Eastern Conference Finals, hey man, we can't compete with Boston or whomever because we don't have this little thing. Oh, AD has this. That's where that becomes a conversation. This is a definite conversation even if let's say they lose in the second round or in the first round, whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The Detroit Pistons had a pretty good year in 03. They still fired Rick Carlisle and hired Larry Brown, and they ended up winning a championship. Sometimes you got to make a decision that even though there was success that year, you want to go beyond that. I talked about Doug Collins being fired when they replaced him with Phil Jackson. Doug Collins had taken the Bulls to the Eastern Conference Finals that year, and then they fired him. So if you recognize what needs to happen, you need to know, hey, look, do we have a better chance of winning a title with Anthony Davis or Garland and Jared Allen?
I would still look the way of OKC before you try to make that trade, because I still think
it's likely that OKC is not going to want to help the Lakers in the West.
Not even if they get AD for it.
No, because I know there's. What are they going to do? They're going to throw Chet in there. Who are they going to throw? Hardenstein.
They would throw. Well, I would ask
want
for
talent too. The two things that I want, those two players have: youth, guard play, someone who can shoot. It's not just, we're going to give away AD for a bunch of draft picks. Draft picks mean nothing unless you actually have talent on the team as well.
Well, that OKC has a ton of young talent that you could choose from. Again, Chet would probably be a centerpiece of that. I wouldn't ask for Hartenstein. I would ask for Chet.
I don't think they give up Chet.
Okay, well then
No.
that ends the conversation right there. I'll move on.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I just don't think they'd give up Chet. That's the thing, and I wouldn't. Then there's no point at that point. If they offer Chet, sure, but then at the same time, is Chet the guy you want? This guy gets injured when he sneezes. I don't know. I'd rather have something a little bit more stable, and I think we need a guard that can shoot and actually create.
Yes, I will give you. I'll give you that. That he's playing incredible this year right now for Cleveland. So yes, last year he had the broken jaw. So yeah, if you look at it from Cleveland's perspective, which we try to do here in the trades, as far as concerned, not just Joe, just me as well, because when I always ask, it's like you always have these guys trade these crazy trades that you guys always throw out there, and I'm like, if you're the GM on the other side, do you say yes to any of these trades? And all these trades, 99% of them, they're going to be no, because they're just that one-sided. So a Cleveland trade, if it doesn't pan out with Cleveland after the great start that they've had, that's something they could definitely consider.
Yeah. And we're factoring in everything here. Who's going to work with these guys? Who's worked with them?
Cleveland, I want to know, Jeremy's saying how Boston operates with all the starters, unlike Max Money. Well, it's because they're in the second tax apron. They have made the sacrifice, and they are willing to pay all the penalties and taxes right now while the getting's good. In 2 years, Joe, it might be different because those extensions for Tatum and Brown kick in. And if they don't keep on winning championships, definitely the thought process is different, Joe.
Well, last time I checked, Boston owners are selling.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, that is correct.
So they know what's coming. You're noticing that the old regime and the old owners are all selling. We saw Phoenix sell. Now, Sarver was kind of guided a little bit, but it's not a surprise because Sarver had a reputation of being a Timo Donald Sterling, if you will, or a Wish Donald Sterling. And then you had Mark Cuban, who had some issues in the offices as well. And slowly, after a few years, when that kind of died down, all of a sudden he's selling the team. A lot of these guys can't operate like they used to. Now it's becoming bigger guys and guys that have a little bit more resources and a little bit more cachet in the business world, believe it or not. I know Mark Cuban is a billionaire and he's got a lot of cachet as well, but he's probably at a time in his life where he doesn't want to deal with it as much. But you're going to start seeing a lot of these old owners, the owners that have been around for the last, let's say, 20 years. They're not going to be able to handle competing with these aprons. And what kills me is these idiots agreed to this deal, and now they're bouncing. Why did you agree to this? Why did anybody agree to this? Why did the players agree to this? Because now you're going to get stuck. De'Aaron Fox didn't sign an extension because he's betting on himself for next year. He's one of the few guys that's not going to risk being stuck in Sacramento. But what if he gets hurt this year? Now he's going to hate himself.
No, Seven. He's talking. Joe was talking. If it goes south again for Cleveland this year in the playoffs, just letting you know that he was talking about a what if. If it goes south again for Cleveland in the playoffs, they might look to Lakers and AD to try and see if they could make a change. J Bay, I do want to say that he said kind of like that Garland and Allen trade to the Lakers, though. Build around those two with Connect, Christie, Shafino. Shafino will not be here for rebuild, J Bay. He is a free agent at the end of the season. The Lakers have not extended him for a third year. They declined that option.
I used Garland and Allen as an example because two reasons. They're two players that this team needs. Jared Allen is kind of an intangible guy, and his contract is very friendly. He's making $20 million a year. And then Garland, there's been some talk in Cleveland that there might be some redundancy with ball handling between him and Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell needs the ball in his hand to be effective. Darius Garland as well. And you're paying both those guys near the same money. And you don't know if you're going to run into a Magic Johnson, Norm Nixon type situation where there's just not enough of a ball to keep him happy. But what happens in that scenario, there's a lot of scenarios on why I picked Cleveland. There's a relationship. There's been transactions with that team. Therefore, we're not going to have to worry about how Rob and his dinkus reputation is going to cause a rift. So we know that Cleveland's worked with them, and there's a good chance that if the offer makes sense, they'll do it. Plus, I think, just based off basketball knowledge, that I really like a lineup, even if I was playing objective guy and a guy that didn't know anything about anything, like Lakers or whatever, and I didn't have a dog in the fight. I really think an Evan Mobley, Anthony Davis, and Donovan Mitchell team is a legit three.
Or Darius Garland, you meant Darius Garland.
Huh?
Oh, you're talking about on the Cleveland side. I'm Cleveland side. Yeah. My bad. Sorry. But yes, just wanted to go ahead and touch on second apron. The penalties for that, because somebody was asking how does it affect you in the draft. Teams lose the ability to trade first-round picks that are 7 years in the future. And if teams remain in the second apron for any 3 years in a 5-year period, their upcoming first-round draft pick is automatically moved to the end of the first round. Which, if you're winning championships, Joe, that won't really matter much, will it?
No. I'm making a point to make sure that Cleveland feels like they get the best out of the deal, because that's the only way a trade like that would happen. If Cleveland feels like it's not a good enough deal, it would never happen. Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Davis, and Evan Mobley is a hell of a three, especially in the East. That thing could do it. You could win. You could win something there with that trio. And as far as the Lakers are concerned, you get back an athletic 2024 style big, and then you have Darius Garland, which coincidentally was the fourth pick in the draft pick that we gave away for the LeBron trade. I'm sorry, not the LeBron trade, the AD trade. So there's a little bit of it's kind of poetic that would be kind of a reversal from what it was when they got AD. I like Darius Garland out of the draft. I was trying to figure out a way where I was like, man, is there any way they can not have to put the first round pick in there? Because I really want Darius Garland, but I knew that was going to happen. So the Lakers start the rebuild pretty quick with an athletic big and a very, very talented ball handling, good shooting guard. And then you're going to have a bunch of draft picks in there, even if it's just 4 picks instead of 6. Even if it's just 4 picks, 3-4 picks. Now you can start rebuilding. The problem is, are these idiots who are running the Lakers going to be able to draft well? Because they haven't been doing that lately. So what are they going to do there? Is Jeannie going to fire Rob after this? No. So we still have a lot to worry about after that. I don't know if there's a chance that they can go get Bob Myers or Tim Conley at the end of the year if the Lakers flame out. A little bit of me tells me if the Lakers really tank, not on purpose, but just really hit the craps and they don't make the playoffs, maybe that would be enough pressure from us, the observers and the media, to say, you guys suck ass. Rob sucks ass. You need to get rid of this guy. She finally, submits to it and hires someone that actually knows what the hell they're doing. But that means she has to pay that guy good money, which is probably why she doesn't have somebody there to be the player personnel guy. That's a problem.
Well, again, that all leads you into what you and Jeff were talking about as far as starting a movement to get the Guggenheims full control of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, the Guggenheims, you're going to be hearing this a lot. This is something I'm going to repetitively say and not feel bad about. It will be Groundhog's Day on this subject. The Guggenheims have to take over the Lakers here in the next 3 to 4 years because she is not capable of running this team. It's just she's not. She doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't have the energy. She doesn't have the mindset to do it. It's just she's a 60-year-old lady who was bequeathed a team that has been putting bad puzzles together except for one season. That's it. That's where they're at. And I feel very, very, very confident, though, that this eventually will be the way it ends up. I just don't know when. I don't know when it'll finally hit the skids to where they have to sell.
You know what I'd do if I was them? I would, if I was the Guggenheims, I'd be calling Gigi. I'd be calling Jeannie every day. Can I buy the Lakers?
Here's what's great about the Guggenheim situation.
And just bother them every day, Joe. Can I buy the Lakers?
I'll do it for free.
Can I buy the Lakers?
Call me. Let me have the green light. I will call that lady every day. Are you going to sell to us? Are you going to sell to us? You don't have to pay me a dime. I will spend. Dude, I already spend 3-4 hours a day on the phone anyways. I will spend however much time you want for free to get that lady to sell that team. And of course, AEG is ready to sell too. Sell everything to the Guggenheims. They'll own the arena. They'll own the properties. They'll own the land. They'll own the team, everything. Let those guys, those are the guys that need to take over this thing. And luckily, they do have first right refusal. And you'd start seeing the operation run much, much more professionally. This isn't selling the Fox in the late 90s. This isn't selling to that dick face Frank McCourt. This is the Guggenheims. The Guggenheims, if you look at the Dodgers run from 2013 till now, it is phenomenal what they've done. And it's going to continue. The Dodgers are on a path that will rival the Yankees of the 40s and the 50s and the 20s. That's how this thing looks like. This is where it looks like it's going. And I think they're doing this, by the way, too, because they feel like there might be a chance that these asshole owners who are just looking to line their pockets might force some kind of cap here in a couple of years, because I think the contract runs out in 2026. So they're stocking up now so that they don't have to worry about that for the next 9 years. They're going to sign everybody, get everyone on board. By the time it gets there, it's too late. They're winning back-to-back titles. They're having three-peats. They win maybe 4 out of 5. Who knows? But right now the Dodgers have won 2 championships in the 20s. And they have 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. They have 5 more seasons in this decade. If they win 4 out of that next 5, you're looking at one of the greatest dynasties in baseball and in sports in general. They would have won 6 championships in a decade.
Pale, they're going to get their own. They're going to get expansion. No way the Lakers would ever leave Los Angeles and leave it to the Clippers.
No. Someone asked me, is it a Laker town or a Dodger town? I thought that was an interesting question. The thing is, the way I explained the Laker Dodger, whose town it is, it's both. This is LA is a Laker town. A lot. The Dodgers are a little easier on the pocketbook because it's baseball. There's 81 games at home, double what you have, more than double what you have, almost double what you have in basketball, and they're not as expensive.
Can I ask you a question on the Dodgers?
Mm-hmm.
Since they've won the world championship, everybody, they always put out, you know how they are, the bandwagoners. They always come out with their Dodger gear or their Dodger hats and whatnot. I have seen almost every color of the rainbow in Dodger hats since the Dodgers won the world championship. And yes, I know that's October we're talking about, but your thoughts, my friend, on I always thought it was Dodger blue, but when I see Dodger red, Dodger green, Dodger yellow, Dodger white, Dodger orange, I've seen. This is in Las Vegas here, so I've seen all colors of the rainbows with the LA Dodger hat. I don't know, does that offend you at all as a diehard Dodger fan? Does that bother you at all?
Well, I wear black, as you can see.
I've seen black Dodgers hats as well. Yes.
Black. I have black Dodger hats. I have a Dodger gray
Okay.
hat.
I've seen that too.
Everything correlates to the Dodgers. So I have a blue hat, the championship hat,
Okay.
the gray hat, which matches their uniform. Um, the only thing that's off color in my wardrobe is I do have something that has red in it, but it's not it's because there's red in the Dodger logo with the baseball.
Okay.
But the one that's definitely off color is my St. Patrick's Day shirt. I've been wearing for the last 5 years.
Okay. I'm
It's
just
green.
asking.
It's green. It's green. So I'll wear a green LA. It's the LA logo on St. Patrick's Day. I wear the same shirt every St. Patrick's Day, and I got that after they won the 2020 World Series.
Okay.
Uh, as far as me wearing a red hat, number one, I don't really wear red hats in
Or
general.
white LA hat or
White,
pink LA hat.
white is difficult unless it's a championship type hat because it gets dirty quicker, and then red just doesn't look good on me. I don't wear red hats.
Okay.
My alma mater colors are red and black,
Okay.
but it would have to be some kind of a shirt.
I
But I
wear
don't.
different variations of Lakers hats, so I don't want to go too far on it. So I'm not going to be, I don't want to be hypocritical at all. But I just wondered if it bothered you as a
Nah,
fan of the Dodgers
I don't give a shit.
for so long. The Dodger blue. Remember how they were through the 70s and 80s? It was the Dodger blue, the Dodger blue, the Dodger blue. Now it's, any way you can merchandise the Dodgers. We all know at the end of the day, it's about Dodgers. Yes, and I understand Pale Fox. It is about the breast cancer awareness with the pink hat, but I was making that as an example of it, asking Joe if it bothered him to see so many variations.
I'll tell you what bothers me in terms of colors. I don't like that the Lakers don't wear their golden armor at home anymore as much. I don't know who started this and why they don't wear Sunday whites on Sunday.
It's called merchandising. Again, it goes
No, no,
back
no,
to
no, 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 no.
Dallas.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about why aren't they wearing it like they
Well,
used
you're
to?
asking who started it.
You had the golden armor at home. You wore purple on the road.
No, I'm
You
not
wore white
disagreeing
on
with you.
Sunday.
I'm just asking. You said who started it, and you know who started it. The league started it, and you know why they started it, because of money.
Fuck the league. Tell the league to get fuck off. What? What are they gonna do? I'm not wearing that. It's Sunday. Wear Sunday whites on Sunday, not on Tuesday. No fucking balls. No fucking no personality of who you are anymore, man. They're a bunch of fucking saps, all of them. Stupid. That's what pisses me off. Why are you wearing purple at home? Why are you wearing your purple jerseys at home? And then they let Indiana wear the gold in their own house. Like, really?
I guess the Rams can still make the playoffs at 6-6. They're still very much in it, which makes Cool Bro happy as he lets me know constantly.
Who gives a shit?
Well, that was in our chat. They were asking about it. So.
Yeah, Aaron Donald had a Barry Sanders-like career, but with a title, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame here in 3 years. Got out of the league healthy as well as he could be. I don't know him well, but I'm going to assume that he got out just in time to where probably before he ended up becoming an invalid because playing defensive tackle in the NFL, I couldn't imagine that being, and that might have been what it is. You might have started feeling like, hey man, I can feel my body breaking down, and he decided to go out a little earlier than he probably than you should. than he could have or than he needed to. And that's a smart way to go, in my opinion. Get out a little bit earlier than you need to. Why? You have everything. You have you're considered the greatest defensive player of your generation. You're a champion. You're gonna be in the Hall of Fame as soon as your name is on the ballot. And wow, what a career! I love careers.
Jeremy, I'm assuming it's like a combination of both the NBA and the actual team themselves on which colors they wear when. There are some theme nights that they want to go ahead and get across. Like, tonight they were required to wear the city jerseys for both teams. So that was mandated by the league. But on a off day where the league doesn't mandate a certain theme behind it, there's Hispanic Lakers jerseys. On the they've celebrated before. To give you another example, I'm sure the team themselves determines on which ones they want to go ahead and put out when. That's not every single game, but there are certain days that the league says, hey, you guys got to have your city jerseys here, or you got to have these jerseys then, and so on and so forth. But yeah, they want to keep on variating the theme and not having you see the same colored jerseys continuously because they want you to buy all of them.
Yeah, that's fine, but I want the gold jerseys at home and Sunday whites on Sunday.
And I don't think that's unfair to ask.
It's a cool image. If you have a variation, they had the light blues on
the Black Mamba jerseys.
The Black Mamba's fine. I don't mind that on certain occasions, but there isn't a staple. They wore the light blues, but LA, like the Minneapolis Lakers on occasion in the past. Cool. I don't mind a special day. I don't mind a celebration type thing. Cool. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that. But that's fundamentals. The golden armor. The golden armor should be at home, and Sunday white should be on Sunday, and then the purple should be on the road. That's an identifier. That's an image thing, and they slowly keep eking away at that, and it bothers me. And I still I know that the league kind of we're hoping that. I mean, putting up an IST banner up there next to those titles really, it's really bad. I know they have to. I know because they want to promote it, but Jesus, guys, really, that's worse than a division banner. Actually, that might be on par with the Indianapolis Colts in what was it, 2014? Is it 2014? Yeah, 2014, when that idiot Irsay put up a banner that said AFC title finalists. Seriously, I would have, if I was part of any kind of Indianapolis Colts fan club, I would have had everyone sign a petition and write a letter to that drunk idiot. Dude, take that banner down. You look like a damn fool.
What about for the Clippers, though? They don't have anything that they can hoist up.
They have two division banners.
Woohoo!
Did they put those up on into it? Were they?
I'm assuming that they did. Yeah, they don't have to hide it for the Taylor Swift and all the Lakers banners that they put up there.
Well, so again, I want to reiterate to Mr. Silver. I know he's not going to hear this, but you want people to watch. You don't want a 28% dip on your ratings. Try to make try to bring back a little bit of the attitude of what your league used to be, instead of having 15 different stoppages for fucking replays. And every time you look at somebody, all of a sudden somebody has to get a tech and get kicked out. The only thing I don't condone what Draymond Green does, because that guy kicks people in the nuts when they're not looking. That's a bitch. That guy needs to still get punched in the face for that shit. But as far as scuffles and fighting, you saw Ryan Day after Ohio State lost to Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to watch chaos just develop.
I'm just glad that if you're living in and around the crypt and you're going and heading to the Lakers, home on their off days, that you don't have to worry about it. If it's a Clipper game, that it's all Clippers when you go to the gift shop and you go to the gift store and the team store that's there. That pissed me off when I went there on a Lakers off day and it was Clippers throughout the entire team store stuff because it was a Clippers game coming up later that night, and they had the Lakers stuff all like stuffed in like closets, and you could see like the jerseys, these $200 jerseys just sticking out like barely outside of the door because they couldn't, whoever did it did a half-assed job, and I'm just saying to myself, man, don't get it.
I get it. It's
and no, and everybody in there was actually asking for Lakers stuff, and they were all being sent away to the Lakers store in El Segundo.
Why? Because it was the Clipper night?
Yes, because of Clipper night. Yes.
That has got to be the dumbest, moronic thing I've heard. Like who calls that? AEG? Who makes the call on that?
Maybe the organization. I don't know. It's very tacky.
Does Jeannie sit down with Ballmer and say, "All right, we'll make sure we ruin the integrity of our jerseys in some piece of shit closet so that you can have your shit," even though Laker fans are there that goddamn house was built by Shaq and Kobe. Okay? That house was built by Shaq and Kobe, not the Clippers. The Clippers wouldn't even exist over there without Shaq and Kobe and the Lakers. So what the hell is this? This is, again, another reason. You sit down, and if Ballmer had the gall to say that, which I don't think he did, this had to have come from some dweeb. You go, what? No. Here, we'll build you a fucking Clipper thing. People go to the Clipper thing, and people come to the Laker thing. This is fucking Staples, man. They want to come buy Laker gear. We're going to fucking let them buy Laker gear.
They didn't even have King stuff.
I'm going to send you out to another goddamn place where there's traffic. Come on. Just keep adding to the fire here, man, of how inept and stupid these people are. These people have no business running this thing anymore. Go away. Sell the team to people who are competent.
Yes, I know, Darren. You're very quick.
Look what the Dodgers are doing at Dodger Stadium. They pulled all the clubhouses out, even the visitor side, and they're going to enhance the visitor side's clubhouse. So everyone knows that comes into that place who the Dodgers are. First class organization. You know what? You know who used to do that too? Eddie DeBartolo, San Francisco 49er, former San Francisco 49er owner. Everyone that went to San Francisco in the 80s and early 90s said the same thing anytime someone interviewed him. First class organization. First class organization. Everyone was catered to. Everyone was taken care of. And guess what happened during that time? Guess what happened between 1981 and 1994? The Niners went 5-0 in Super Bowls. Dominated in 3 of them. Because the focus is these guys are important. We're going to put the best players on the field. We're going to take care of those guys, and everyone is going to know, and it's going to resonate everywhere. Boom, boom, boom. And they would have won more if they hadn't had some freak injuries, which is, that's football. That's how you run an organization in my book. That's what I'm used to. I'm not used to this Walmart, all these type shithole genie bus run organizations. Sorry. You better get with the program, lady. And you're not. Doesn't look like it. You're too busy playing with your pets. If you want to go play with your pets, retire and go play with your pets. Go buy cats. Go knit shit. Get out of here. Give the adults, the real adults, the chance to make this thing work. Because the last adult that ran this is unfortunately gone. And he did enough. He put 10 Larry O'Brien's in that office. And now, I think we've done enough tonight in terms of heat. Did I put the heat on tonight? I wanted to get the heat on a little bit more.
I just love it when those new people come in and you either like send them away or they just like,
well,
dude, chill out, bro. Chill out, bro.
If it was chill out, that's fine. But that one dipshit saying that I said JJ Riddick was great pissed me off because I did not say that. Don't put words in my mouth, especially when I said something 10 seconds earlier. If you're not paying attention, I'm gonna make sure you're paying attention next time. Yes, you're gonna pay attention next time now, or you're gonna fuck off. Either way, I win. And I win not because I feel like I won. It's because now I have to hear stupidity from you. Don't be stupid. Open your ears. There's a reason why there's 2 ears and one of these. Now, in this case, it's this because it's easy to do this. That fucker would have never said that face to face, right? That's how the world works. People are usually cowards. There's very few people that will open their mouth in front of you. But at the same time, make sure if you're going to criticize someone or you're telling somebody to whatever, make sure what you're saying is true first. That's it. If you want to correct me and I'm wrong, I'm gonna say, yeah, I fucked up on that one. Sorry. But don't say I said great when I didn't. Yeah, he did, Mia. He said great. I read it. I remember reading it.
I was the one that called it out.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Anyways, with that, this wine, by the way, is pretty good. So if I have another glass, I'm probably gonna pass out.
I will say, Mia's saying ATL will jam the Lakers up. That's at the back end after the Miami game. You don't know which Atlanta team you're going to get right now, Mia. The one that is leading already headed to Vegas for the Cup games, or the one that seemingly is like below mediocre in non-Cup games. So
the issue with Atlanta and Miami and Orlando is there's a focus that's usually not there in those trips. For some reason in the past, it's always mediocre games. And of course, if guys like Trae Young and Bogdanovich are hitting their shots, that's kind of the issue with the Lakers is they never seem to be able to stop good shooters on the opposing team because the defense sucks and they're lazy. And I thought it was disheartening to see AD pull a LeBron today. By the way, when he didn't get the call, he left his teammates to rot with a 4-on-5 break again. See, guys, it sets an example, guys. It sets an example. So if LeBron didn't do that shit, AD wouldn't do it. And of course, JJ Redick's not gonna say anything. He's not gonna yell at AD on the floor or LeBron and say, "Get the fuck back over there." Because then now all of a sudden the news stations and everybody and their mother and their cousins are going to come out. Oh, is there a rift between JJ and LeBron? That's why I'm saying the JJ Redick thing. Is he going to want to deal with this too long? That's going to be the question. He signed a 5-year contract, so, but I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to keep up this kind of energy though for 2 years, is he?
No, but then again, these are the first games of his coaching career, and I think he's going to mellow out as time goes on if he wants to stay in coaching.
He's going to stay in coaching. He's good at it. You can see it. There's fundamentals there that are being built. But I think JJ Redick is going to be better off with someone that he's going to need to kind of have the fortune of what Greg Popovich had. He's going to need a star that can handle his personality, someone that he could yell at or hold accountable in front of others, and everyone has to eat it because, well, they're like, well, if Tim Duncan can be yelled at in practice, then anybody and any of us have no right to complain. Robert Horry confirmed this, by the way. Robert Horry still picked Popovich as a better coach than Phil Jackson because he said Phil Jackson treated players differently. Popovich treated everyone the same. Now, how I would have retorted to Horry was like, well, Horry, it's a little easier to do that in San Antonio because Tim Duncan is the perfect athlete in terms of not being that diva asshole and getting butthurt. Like you couldn't do that to Shaq. You couldn't do that to Kobe to a certain extent, especially at the beginning of his career. So what now? You know, what did you want Phil to do? They had to let Dennis Rodman go bang a bunch of hookers in Vegas for 3 days They're not going to let Bill Wennington do that, would they? But they had to let Dennis Rodman. So the moral of the story of this is every situation calls for certain activities, if you will. Not everything is black and white sometimes. Sometimes you got to gray stuff up. And that's kind of my button on that. But again, I want to thank you all for being here. This was a very fast hour for Nightcap, I have to admit. I don't know if it was because of the wine or just good conversation, but either way, I think it was good. The wine was good.
No,
The conversation
but I
was
like
good.
that proposal that you have. Is something definitely if it comes to fruition and Cleveland does do another flame out, might be something that we should promote
I
strongly on the
think it's
show during
something
the
that
summer.
needs to be discussed because there's a realistic situation there. But there's a lot of things that are going to have to happen before that's even close to an option. And unfortunately, I don't want Rob Pelinka pulling that trigger either. Now that I kind of went through the conversation, I realized, wait a minute, I don't think this should be a Rob Pelinka decision. I think if LeBron retires, Genie has to fire Rob Pelinka and get someone that knows what they're doing so that they can rebuild the team. If she does that, she can start getting back into good graces. But still, in the end, she's not capable of running the team. She's just not financially set for it. She's not financially networked for it. She has to sell this team very, very, very soon. And it just sucks because I think at some point it's gonna be later, and we have to wait.
So Darren left you with this before we head on out. So the 70s Steelers, the 80s 49ers, and the 2000 Pats are the best teams ever over a period of 4 or 5 seasons.
So unfortunately, I wasn't there for the '70s. I was born in '78. I was there for '88 and beyond. So I got a chance to see more of the Niners setup. Um, my dad. I had to talk to my dad because my dad saw it all before he passed away. And the reason why, other than the '07 Patriots, I I saw the Patriots as an amazing dynasty. Don't get me wrong, but there was a lot of weird stuff there too. The cheating scandals and a lot of close Super Bowls. '07, even though they didn't win it that year, that was probably the best team I ever saw in my lifetime. However, if I had to pick the best team I ever saw that won a Super Bowl, it was probably the '89 Niners. The '89 Niners were just a juggernaut. My dad said, he said he probably would have picked the '84 Niners. The '84 Niners would have gone undefeated if not for a bad call by the ref that ended up allowing the Steelers to hit a game-winning field goal in that game in that season. The Niners went 18-1, and they beat the Dan Marino led Miami Dolphins team in the Super Bowl. My dad said that might have been the best team he'd ever seen. So even more so than the '78 Steelers and the '79 Steelers. I think the Steelers of the '70s was the most perfectly constructed championship dynasty that probably, based off the information, based off the drafting, based off the coaching, that was probably the greatest assembly of a dynasty in football that probably the NFL's ever had. And I'll tell you why. In 1974, the Steelers drafted 4 Hall of Famers, and there was a guy that they picked up as a free agent named Donnie Shell, who also went into the Hall of Fame. That offseason, they accumulated 5 Hall of Famers. Number 1 was Lynn Swann. Number 2 was Jack Lambert. Number 3 was Mike Webster, and number 4 was John Stallworth. And then you still had L.C. Greenwood, Ernie Holmes, Dwight White, Rocky Blyer, Franco Harris, Mel Blount. There were a lot of guys on that team that were amazing that didn't get notoriety from a public standpoint because there was so many great players on that team. L.C. Greenwood's still not in the Hall of Fame, and he was amazing because of the fact that a lot of the voters felt like there's way too many Steelers from that team in the Hall of Fame. So it's very hard to give you a legitimate answer on the Steelers dynasty because I wasn't there, didn't see it. But based off what my dad said, based off the history that I know of the Steelers, I think that was the greatest assembly of talent in football history. And they won 4 championships out of 6 years. The best team I ever saw was probably the '89 Niners. The '94 Niners were pretty amazing, but they had a little bit of a lull at the beginning of the year that year, whereas the '89 Niners were just an absolute just juggernaut, and they won a championship. So yeah, if I had to pick, I'd probably pick the '89 Niners.
So tomorrow, you feel like an Inside Sports Fantasy Football? No Chris this
Well,
week.
I got a
so-
great story for you. What happened tonight?
with the Denver game.
This has been the most just depressing fantasy football season I've ever been in, and it happened in both my leagues.
Oh man.
So I won't even name the player that saved me tonight. I'll wait for the show. That's a tease, by the way, for those of you who want to find out.
Tease.
Just to put it in perspective, though, before this week started, I had more points than the number 1 player in my league, and I have the 4th most points in my other league. And I barely won tonight because of that one player. I was supposed to lose tonight. For sure, I was supposed to lose tonight. So, yeah, if I can get into the playoffs in each league, there could be I could be that guy that you don't want to play. But the problem too is I made a horrible mistake. There was a lot of ticking in my head on picking McCaffrey in one of my drafts, and I went against my instinct on that one. I should have just drafted Robinson, and I would have won 3 more games. When I went back and looked at the numbers, I would have won 3 more games if I had drafted Robinson in that league. So yeah, it's a bummer, but it's been fun. You know, you're invested in the week. You're playing, you're strategizing, and we'll see what happens next week if I can make it in one of them at least. At least if I can make it in one of them, I feel very comfortable possibly running the table.
There you go.
So
Sounds good.
again, thanks everyone for being here tonight. We went a little over, but I know we had a lot of good discussions tonight. Sorry if I was a little too aggressive tonight.
No, not at all.
Yeah, sorry
They
again.
like it.
Good, but it's
Well, except for the guy who probably will never come to our channel again.
It's gonna get worse because if they keep losing, it's gonna get worse, and it is what it is.
I'm trying to get us to 2,000 before the end of the month, man.
I think we're gonna be. I think based off of what we saw in the last week, I think there's a possibility that might happen. We get to 2,000, I'm gonna feel pretty comfortable about continuing to do what we're doing here. But there's gonna be substance behind it. Again, I can't just rant about nothing. There's got to be something that's attached to this. Otherwise, I'm just ranting like Stephen A. Smith. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be box score Stephen A. Smith who makes millions of dollars just yapping about nothing. I watch these games. I know what I'm talking about. If I don't know what I'm talking about, if I haven't watched something, I'm going to tell you straight up, hey, I don't know what the fuck happened. So with that, thank you for being here on the Nightcap. Gerald, thank you for being here as well. For everyone that's stuck around for another hour and change, we love you. I'm here because of you, and I'll always be here for you guys as long as I'm healthy and able to speak. And we'll be back here in a few days for the Miami game. Hopefully, the guys aren't hungover for that game and they actually surprise us. And until next time, we'll see you next time.
All right. Still on the air. It's still showing us on the air.